Hey guys, Nike here. As you might know, Guild Wars 2 and Path of Exile are my main games, but they're both currently in a quiet time now before new content comes out, and that makes it a great time to go back to Guild Wars 1 and try some new stuff and work on long-term goals. Since Guild Wars 1 doesn't get balance patches anymore or content updates, things progress slowly, and builds that were good 5 years ago are still pretty good. Despite all that, new builds do come out from time to time. Previously, I had made a video on the new elite skills ANET added for one of the anniversary patches, specifically the Warrior Elite 7 weapon stance. SWS is really powerful, allowing you to easily get a whopping 20 in any weapon skill you want, including off-class weapons. My last build guide showed it on a Scythe version of the build, and the Scythe build is really very good. Check that out if you haven't and that interests you. The Scythe build strengths are the fact that it has solid single target, natively cleaves, and has massive AoE opportunity with Reap Impurity spam. The main drawback is that you are tied to a Dervish secondary profession, which means you don't get the assassin skill Death Charge to teleport engage into combat. So while the build is powerful, it is tactically limited in some places. The second drawback is that you do need Withering Aura on a hero to fuel Reap Impurities. This can be either trivial or challenging depending on your team comp. But there is another good SWS option, and that's Hammer. Hammer is a very satisfying weapon in Guild Wars 1 because knockdowns are savagely powerful. Additionally, unlike Scythe, Hammer, when it crits really hard. The key interaction with this build is knockdown followed by Renewing Smash. Renewing Smash hits instantly or hits insanely hard and has a long cooldown. However, if you hit a foe that is knocked down, you gain some energy back and the skill refreshes its cooldown. This means you can follow a knockdown with 4 renewing smashes. As a result, you get extremely high DPS on single target, since you're going to do around 700 damage in the 3 second of knockdown from the smashes. This makes it very strong against bosses offensively and defensively. The negatives of the build are that you get blinded or blocked, your smash goes on cooldown. The damage potential, of course, goes down without Renewing Smash. The build also has the Withering Aura requirement, and while it has some AoE, it certainly has less AoE potential than the Scythe build. The last drawback is that some mobs cannot be knocked down, which means in areas with a lot of those type of mobs or with bosses that can't be knocked down, the build is quite suboptimal. All in all, it is really fun and satisfying build to play, and since it makes huge numbers appear on your screen, that's certainly interesting to me, and if that's interesting to you, stick around and I will go over how to set it up and play it. Alright, so for the gear you need, for our armor, we are going to go with a Sentinel's insignia in each slot, except for our gloves, where we're going to want to run Stone Fist. If you don't have Stone Fist, you massively limit your potential because you lose an extra second of knockdown, which means you're going to have 1 less Renewing Smash. We want a Strength Helm with Superior Rune of Strength, and we're going to go with the best Vigor rune that you can afford, a minor Tactics, and a minor Hammer Mastery. For our weapons, our main weapon is going to be a Vampiric Hammer of Fortitude with the Dance with Death inscription. You can also use a Zealous version on swap, but I found it really isn't ever necessary to swap to the Zealous. So that's not something that you strictly speaking, have to do. Then I would also recommend that you have the Arbalest Anniversary Spear with Shield as one of your weapon swaps, so you can still do damage in the event that you get your 7 weapon stance stripped by a mob. And lastly, I always bring a longbow for pulling groups of mobs. For attributes and skills, we want to go with 16 in strength, which will make our 7 weapon stance last as long as possible. And we want 13 in tactics to make our To The Limit last as long as possible and give us as much adrenaline as we can get. Then we'd put the remaining 3 points into Hammer Mastery, which will bring us up to 4 in Hammer Mastery. Thus, with 7 weapon stance, that 4 will turn into 20, which is exactly what we want. For our bar, the bar I recommend is Auspicious Blow. Yeti Smash, Renewing Smash, Crude Swing, To the Limit, 7 Weapon Stance, Assurin Scan, and Death's Charge. If for some reason you don't like Death's Charge, it's possible there's people out there that are not into that type of engagement. Feel free to switch this out for I Am Unstoppable. Alternatively, you could switch out Crude Swing for I Am Unstoppable if you are in a situation where you know you don't need the AoE, or perhaps you could even switch out To the Limit for I Am Unstoppable if you know that your fights are going to be really short and you don't need the sort of sustain like 2 times through your loop. I Am Unstoppable, I find, gets recommended a lot in pretty much every melee bar on PvX. And while it is good in certain areas, I don't know that I would ever consider it a main bar skill. There's certainly places where knockdowns are prevalent and you definitely want it there. But it's not the sort of thing that I would say should be main barred on every bar. It should definitely be an optional skill, in my opinion. And the fact that a lot of the melee builds leave Death Charge off that could have it and take I Am Unstoppable, I just disagree with that. So anyway, that's the skill bar, and so next up we will talk about the playstyle. Alright, so the most important thing is to maintain 7 weapon stance, 100% uptime. Pretty much you just need to activate it on cooldown. When you engage groups, you can use Death's Charge and then Crude Swing to do big AoE damage, especially if you have Splinter Weapon precast. Auspicious Blow should be used anytime it's charged and you have need of 10 more energy. The main damage combo is Yeti Smash followed by 4 Renewing Smashes. This will be a bit more than enough to kill any trash mobs, and it will take a fat chunk out of bosses. You can follow this up with To the Limit to recharge Auspicious Blow and to then refill your energy that you used in the Renewing Smashes. Then you can do another Yeti and 4 more Renewing Smashes. If To the Limit is on cooldown, you can just use 2 auto attacks and repeat the Auspicious Yeti 4x Renewing combo. A few notes for the team comp on this. You do need Withering Aura on a hero to ensure that the mobs have a condition when you Yeti Smash. If you have a Minion Master hero, this is the best place to add it to your team. If not, you can squeeze it onto a Ritualist bar at the expense of a copy of Fallback from your team comp. As with other melee builds, this build benefits massively from Splinter Weapon and Strength of Honor in your comp. So those are things that I would always bring on my team when playing this. Alright, so that's it, guys. I hope you really dig this build. I think you guys, while you have a downtime in Guild Wars 2, should log into Guild Wars 1 and give this one a try, and let me know how you like it in the comments below. I will see you next time, and have a great day.